One sec. Let me spark this shit. Hold it.
You should rough pass me that.
Oh my god, where are my manners here?
Thank you.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not think that we would find ourselves sinning in this here tub.
Together.
To sin with a friend is truly an honor. And a privilege.
Couldn't say it better myself.
I was gonna say, what you got to say? I guess we should probably start the podcast. You got anything else to say?
No.
Wonderful. Now let's begin the thing where we talk.
Let's do it.
Burk, bark, Bjork, and hello everybody. Welcome to the 9th episode of The Liberal Bubble. I don't know if you know what day it is, but if you're a real one, you know it is in fact April 20th. And you've listened to this.
20.
Oh. Who could that be? Is it the return of the incomparable Lady Gleep?
I'm
back in the tub
with my cigarettes.
Yes.
I just got lost on the way to the store.
I
but
can
I'm
tell
back.
you what, these are not cigarettes. Let me tell you something, Lady Gleep.
They're marijuana cigarettes. Happy 420, everyone.
Happy 420.
Yappy, your 20.
For legal purposes, I will state that our inebriated state is purely hypothetical.
It's all a joke. And everything from here is a scripted conversation. We're playing two characters.
We're really, really good at playing the characters. So, welcome.
Welcome.
Smoke your proverbial, metaphorical, non-existent cannabis if you've got it.
Yappy Yannabis Day. I remember when you how naive I was as a child.
Yes.
So
I love stories of lost innocence.
Skydoge knows my mom fairly well. And my mom, if you don't know her, I assume you don't, but hey, small world. She's a stoner.
It's true.
The stoner. If there was a Virgin Mary for being a stoner, I feel like my mom would be her. When I was younger, when I learned what 420 was, I was like, hey, Mom, you know what 420 is? And she said no, and I believed her. I was like, oh, how doesn't she know? She knew.
Honestly, yeah, she definitely fucking did. But I was going to say, I have a similar story where I believe that my mother told me she didn't start drinking until she was 40. But I remember as a child being like, that's a lie. That can't be true.
I've found weed on my mom multiple times during my childhood, and she'd convinced me it was never weed. Like the first time, I'm pretty sure she told me it was oregano because she'd been cooking at her boyfriend's house. and we really were just at her boyfriend's house eating dinner, and I'm like, plausible.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I've had to smoke oregano during like student films that depict marijuana use.
So Italian.
It's like smoking a pizza. It's very bizarre.
That's one.
Yeah. Mamma mia. Spicy meatball. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Anyway,
it's our simulated inebriation.
There's a thing we're gonna talk about.
Child. Anyway, so yeah, and it's weed. It's weed. We're gonna talk about weed. How could we not talk about weed? Glow, what was your first experience with cannabis? Are you comfortable sharing it on the podcast?
What's a conversation that's being recorded, not made for? Nope. So.
Are you a cop?
I know I do.
You have to tell me. You know you have to tell me if you're a cop, right?
I don't know why you'd have to ask twice.
Okay.
Because
all right, good.
We've known each other. When would I have had time to go to cop school, huh?
Maybe last week when you wasn't here. I didn't know why you was in Yonkers.
You can't become a cop in 1 week, can you?
I don't know. It seems like they be letting anyone be a cop.
That's true.
But
I'm not a cop.
You were gonna show me your badge.
That was a good trick question.
Oh. Okay. Well, then you were gonna tell me about the first time you smoked weed.
I was maybe a junior in high school. Junior or sophomore. And I was at this girl's house who was in my group of friends. And they had all smoked weed the week before, but I wasn't there. So it gave me a whole week to think they were all sinners and, like, maybe step away and, like, befriend them, because I was definitely raised with a drugs are bad mentality. But not in, like, a drugs are bad, like, sin. Like, drugs can ruin your life. Like, people are addicted. No, I mean, my dad is a sober man, so I grew up going to AA meetings, and, like, in, like, 5th grade, I felt like I had been, like, I was like, me too, I am in Alcoholics Anonymous. I, too, believe in, like, better, like, changing yourself and becoming good, and, like, that it ran in, like, bloodlines, and, like, it was genetic, and alcoholism is a disease. Like, I was raised with that mindset. So, like, I didn't see it as, like, oh my God, they're going to hell for doing drugs. I was like, oh my God, if I do drugs too, I could, like, get addicted and it will ruin my life. Like, very early in my life, I was already worried about that type of stuff.
I remember, like, in DARE. Did you go through the DARE program?
Like, one of the cops in our school, like, in our town, just came and talked to us. I think one day. I don't think it was, like, a program. Maybe it was, like, a few times within that year. Yeah, well, I saw him a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's known to be, studies have shown that it is incredibly ineffective and is a terrible way to do drug education, because it, like your perspective coming from the meetings you were attending makes perfect sense. But when you tell, like, a child in a classroom that the only reason people take drugs is to ruin their lives, you're just, like, leaving out a really important piece of information, which is that, like, things sometimes feel really terrible and drugs can sometimes make you feel good. And, like, that is not a solution and a recipe for a problem, but not that, like it's because as a child, you just genuinely can't comprehend why anyone would ever choose to ruin their life.
It's because they don't...
And then you're just like... Then you smoke weed once, and you're like, oh, okay, so I guess I was sold a fucking bevy of lies, just like they told me this would ruin my life.
You see movies and TV, though, when you're growing up, you don't get the full picture. You're in school and they're like, drugs are bad. And then you turn on TV and you see, like, guys getting to hook up with hot girls. And, like, you're a young boy and you're like, I can't wait to hook up with girls. I'm gonna fucking get drunk and, like, fuck girls all the time. Or, like, I don't know. It's just, like, no one looks like they're having a bad time when they're doing these drugs and drinking alcohol. But, like, they don't explain point A to point B, versus, like, going to AA meetings with my dad who's like, yo, I was fucking, like, addicted to, like, heroin or, like, coke and alcohol and shit. And they're like, it was, like, I loved it, but it ruined, like, you should just see the decline, but still, like, the love of the addiction and stuff. So, like, I knew growing up at a really early age that, like, it was very fun, and that's why it was so addicting.
Interesting.
Or part of why it was so fun.
Yeah, like, I should be clear that I am not advocating for an education system that is like, hey, kids, drugs, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think, like, a better version of drug education would look very similar to what you are describing, which is like this is the truth of cocaine. Some people snort it and they say it makes them feel awesome, right? Also, it can burn a hole through your nose and you can overdose and die, and a high lasts 20 minutes and it's incredibly expensive. Does that sound interesting to you? And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like it's also easier when you're hearing people's life story.
Definitely.
And you could connect it
because
versus
it feels
like
real.
Versus like a fucking cop in your town who's like...
like literally a narc.
literally a narc. But also like if they did ever have struggle with addiction or like drugs, I would never admit it to a classroom of kids who like don't know shit about shit.
And like honestly, I got dare education in 5th grade. It's too early.
Yeah, I remember getting it really early too. They want you to be fearful when you start hearing the words.
But I think fear is just a really bad way to, especially when it comes, like, listen, I don't endorse the use of drugs, period. But hypothetically, I would only ever endorse the use of marijuana. I don't engage with anything else.
Yeah.
And that's personal choice. And would I recommend it to others? Probably, but I don't live your life, so.
No,
what?
go ahead.
Oh,
I just remembered I was telling a story and I have not told it yet.
Oh my God, tell your story. I fucking derailed you. Please.
No, I derailed myself.
Honestly, let's get back on them rails. Whoever.
So, before I had ever done any drugs, my friends had done them and I had a week to like think about whether or not I wanted to do it too. Because number one, I didn't know how I was going to react. Number two, I didn't know if I had, like, the thoughts in my brain were like, I don't know if I have like an addictive person or addictive like trait, like the people in my family on both sides, because that shit genetic.
I was also raised to believe that about myself.
I was worried about that. I was worried about a bunch of things. Just like, it was weird because my mom, growing up, even though I didn't find out for a while, is like very like pro marijuana. She works at a dispensary. She's
the cannabis queen of CT.
Yeah, she really runs that. And so like, it wasn't like angel devil on my shoulder, but like pros and cons. I don't know how to describe it. It was just like both my parents had very different outlooks, and neither of them tried to push me against, think each other were bad.
But they were on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they weren't like finna shit talk the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your parents are incredibly respectful and amicable of each other.
Yeah.
And so you're just getting like mixed messaging.
A lot of mixed messaging, which led me to make my own decisions, but I say very cautiously.
Well,
in the beginning stages. So
I think caution is always a good idea when engaging in substance use.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah. And so I ended up hanging out with them. And no one was home at my friend's house, and it was probably like our whole group of friends hanging out there. And they didn't have rolling papers, and I don't know who they had gotten the weed from, but we either smoked it out of Bible, like the first page of the Bible.
Oh my gosh, that's actual sacrilege.
or it was newspaper, and I don't remember which one now that I'm thinking about it, but I think it was newspaper. To jump from Lil Nas to the Bible. I don't think we used Bible paper. I think we ended up using the newspaper. And my friend rolled the joint using like sports section.
Oh, well, that is the worst section. And
it was the worst smoke. It like hurt so bad I don't think I got high.
Oh my God, I can't imagine what it's like to smoke ink. Sounds awful.
It was very bad, I think. But I don't remember like the gradual flow of things. I know in high school I became very cool, quote unquote, because I was the type of kid who could smoke weed with their mom, and it was like so foreign for people to understand that like my mom let me do drugs, but also like at a point in my life got me my med card and like I've done weed in the legal way.
Yeah, I've done weed. What of it?
I've done weed. But yeah, that's my story in the longest way possible that I
No,
could have
that's a
told
good
it.
story. I liked the story. It had possible sacrilege.
I don't think it was Bible paper. I don't think this person would have had a Bible in the guest room of their house.
Yeah, not if they're smoking weed. They're a bunch of sinners.
True.
But that's a good story. Mm-hmm. My first time, I went to Target in the morning, and I got a flat tire turning into the parking lot because I just decked the curb. I was a new driver, so I was 16, and this is all hypothetical because I've never sinned a day in my life. But
if this were true,
were this to have happened, this is how it happened.
The story would be continued.
Went to a friend's house after I dropped off my car to get unfucked, and we ended up smoking in. Are you familiar with the Cut and Silver Mine?
Maybe. Not by name. Oh, yeah. It's like that random, really small, part of the woods behind the school. For any Norwalk listeners out there.
That's not the one I'm referring to because I do not like to do drugs within, proximity to a school. That is a bad idea. Glow's given me a nice little, very inconspicuous wink. And I felt the need to translate it. But we smoked from an apple. It's behind one of our friends' house, actually. I'll tell you off mic. But I was not with that friend, so we walked all the way there. And then I had heard you often don't feel anything the first time. So I was like, I'm going to feel it, Mr. Krabs. I'm not going to get high. And I just had decided to do it. My friend had invited me to do it, and I had always been like, nah, I'm not ready. But then one day I was like, in the words of Lil Nas, fuck it, let's ride. And I remember it took me a while, but then it hit. And then we were walking to a CVS to get drinks because I had cotton mouth for the first time in my hypothetical life. And I had never experienced, my tongue being such a heavy-weighted object. And as I walked...
that's the worst.
It felt like I was, cut in half at the side, at the middle, not pain-wise, but, perception-wise. And that, my head was on straight, but my legs were, walking on a slight incline to the left, as if the ground was tilted. It was good. And then I was too anxious... to go inside the CVS, so my friend bought me some drink, and we went back to his place, and I watched the 2005 Peter Jackson King Kong, and I was just horrified at the wanton disregard for life displayed by that film, as people are just murdered by dinosaurs, and I was just really in my fucking feelings about it, and I was like, I hate this movie. It's so mean. And then I've watched it since, and I'm like,
this movie's mean.
Yeah, I was really sensitive to fictional characters dying. I remember there's that scene with the dinosaurs stampeding, right? Mm-hmm. And someone just gets trampled, and I turn to my friend and I'm like, he probably had a wife and kids. And I'm just I don't know why that was important to me that day, but it was all I could think about watching that giant movie with the giant gorilla. But
me hysterically crying at the end of the Planet of the Apes franchise.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Dark Knight trilogy, and I was like...
That too. That really got me.
I got to corroborate that. I just rewatched the Dark Knight Nolan trilogy, and it really is an emotional powerhouse, I got to tell you that.
I hysterically wept. left.
Yeah, she called me after. I recommended she watch these films. And she was like, I don't like Batman. And I was like, no, these are really good. And she's like, okay, I'll watch them. And she liked them. And after she finished the third one, she called me like, when I say sobbing, I was like, do I need to like come over? Like, are you okay? What has happened? And she's like, I finished The Dark Knight Rises, and I just can't stand to see an old man like Michael Caine cry. And she was so genuinely upset. When I tell you inconsolable, I fucking mean it.
He's just so sweet.
He really is.
He sees oh, spoiler, but the end when he like sees him from across the restaurant
where his fantasy comes true, it really did hit me in my feelings. And I had seen these movies before. I watched them when I was getting through them COVID side effects.
Yeah.
They were good.
They're really the movies, not the side effects.
Yes, the movies, not the side effects. But I will also say that I went home that day and I listened to the song New Bitch by Igloo Australia, sometimes referred to as Iggy Azalea. And so now every time I listen to New Bitch by Iggy Azalea, which is not often, I do think about the first time I smoked weed. They're linked forever in my mind and heart, and I find that amusing. I have one more story that is fun.
Another fun story, another fun story.
All right. I was with my friends, right? This is all fictional, but it's based on an extremely true story that I made up. So, I think it was maybe after like a school, like a dance in high school or something. I don't even know. Maybe it was just a weekend. But we had to cop. And so we hopped in the car and we did in the parking lot of City Hall, which, like, I know it's a hard story to believe as I write it and make it up, but it's true. It happened.
I feel like a lot of people, for some dumb reason, would use the City Hall parking lot for drug exchange.
You would not believe how many people were there just driving in a circle, and there was a cop literally within eyesight. I was like, this is the most hot boy thing I've ever done in my life. So then once we had copped, we went back to a friend's house and we had a bowl that evening. And the friend did not have a lighter. And Glow, I want you to know who this person is.
I already know this story.
Oh,
actually.
okay. So you do? So you know whose house we're at and how they should have had a fucking lighter. Like, at the time, I was very shocked to find out there was nary a lighter in the house. And so the question became, we had to find a spot that was very, very secluded because we had just copped at the hottest spot for cops. And so we were going to the other side of town, and we had no mechanism by which to light this very hypothetical cannabis. And so he grabbed a candlestick from his dinner table. He lit it on the stove. We wrapped it with tin foil for any dripping wax, and we kept it lit as we drove across town. It was like Hanukkah. The thing stayed lit. It was a miracle. And we get there, we pack the bowl, and we go to light it, and it goes out immediately. Because of course it does. You can't turn a fucking candle upside down. So then we had to call someone who was over 18 to buy us a lighter and had to share our weed. That was that's one of my favorite stories that never happened.
I've heard that story I know the person whose candle it was blamed someone else for the wax in the car.
Oh, I don't remember it dripping.
Oh, I heard there was a bunch of candle wax in the car.
I don't doubt it. I mean, we just wrapped a little bit of tin foil around that candle. It was not a good system. We didn't.
It's so funny.
We weren't. We were trying to problem solve, but
you did pretty great. That's not a bad idea.
It was
My
innovative.
relationship with weed has been so, like, crazy my entire life. I've gone
Honestly,
through extreme
same.
highs
Yep.
and extreme lows. Like, I've hallucinated multiple times on like 3 times on marijuana.
Yeah, one of them was at my birthday. you remember that? Oh goodness.
Wait, the brownies for Burma time?
Yeah.
That was your birthday? Oh yeah, me you.
Yeah. So like I'll spare the details, but circumstances were that I had again these really delicious marijuana brownies that you can imagine and that only ever existed in your mind because they weren't real, but they were downstairs in my freezer, and they were also Twix brownies, which if you haven't made them, ooh bitch, you need 2 boxes of brownie mix. You submerge Twix in your brownies. You have your life changed. It's like a
Yeah,
pretty
and then you
simple
freeze
process.
them.
Yes, and then you can like microwave them. So Glow had just come in. She'd been dropped off by her mom, and she's like, I just smoked a joint in the driveway, as one would with their mother. And she said she wanted something sweet, and I said, there are Twix brownies in the freezer. So she goes downstairs, and here she grabs a brownie, she eats it. We eat dinner. About 2 hours later, we're watching something, and Glow is like, I am so fucking high. And I was like, you haven't smoked anything since you came here like 2 hours ago. If anything, you're coming down. And she was like, I am fucking blitzed. Like, I think someone might have put something in my food or something. And I was like, no, you're just tired. Go to sleep. Like, I was like, just take a rest. Like, you'll feel better. And our friend was like, I believe her. And I was like, I just don't see how this could happen. And so you try to take a nap and you're like, when I close my eyes, I'm seeing shit. And I'm like, Glow, did the brownie you ate have Twix in it? And she said, I'll never forget this. I don't remember. And I said, Glow, did you notice the presence of a cookie bar covered in caramel and chocolate within the baked confection that you consumed? And she said, I don't know. And so we went downstairs to do some investigations. And we opened the freezer, and there, straight ahead, was a tray, or a bag of a tray's worth of cut up Twix brownies. And on the freezer door was a Ziploc bag filled with individually wrapped brownies that each said 40 milligrams. And she ate, obviously, the latter and was fucking high off her ass.
So high.
And I was like, oh, well, that explains it. And she tried to blame me. And I was like, Glow, they all say 40 milligrams.
I didn't read it. I was high when I ate it.
Every brownie is in its own individual Ziploc baggie. What?
I don't know why you thought I could read.
That's fair. Maybe it was my fault. But we're lucky that it was purely fictional. Wouldn't it be crazy?
True. That's true. I have hallucinated 3 times though. And I've also gone through periods where it makes me extremely anxious, and I've also had like really good relationships with it.
Same, and I've also had periods where I use it like I breathe it like oxygen. I don't recommend.
Neither do I.
And I'm constantly reevaluating my relationship with it because it is. I don't know if we mentioned this. The hypothetical cannabis is medical and prescribed and fully legal. So, and Glow's not a cop. She's promised me. But what was I saying? Oh God, we have
relationships with marijuana.
Oh yeah, it's ever changing. That's it.
There's definitely moments where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this as much. And it is sometimes hard to, like, wean myself off or down.
Well,
Once I've been able to do it, it, like, stays consistent.
I have found very recently that when it comes to dosing hypothetical marijuana, less is more.
Yeah.
You really,
I've learned that.
you don't got to chase that dragon because you just feel really fucking blitzed.
Yeah, I've definitely learned that in my relationship with it.
It took me a while, but...
It's just there was points where, like, I was in a really bad car accident, so I was, like, using it all the time for pain.
And I think we were also hanging out a lot during that time, and I'm probably not a great influence.
I was doing me. I wouldn't put any of my usage onto
That's
it.
fair. You have full agency. I don't know why I think I would affect your behavior, but we were smoking a lot of hypothetical weed during this fictional time. Can I drop the bit?
Yeah, you can
I
go.
think any cop would not listen past this point.
It's been 30 minutes.
Yeah, we should also probably talk about something politically related to cannabis, unless you've got more stuff.
I really don't know what's going on with Joe Biden, and sometimes I literally forget he's the president because I never hear stuff. The only time I do hear stuff is actually, I've seen 2 TikToks in the past, like, however long he's been president. 3 months? 2 months?
Since January 20th, so it's almost 4 months.
4 months?
Or 3 months. I can't count. You know. Why would you ask this of me? I'm so embarrassed.
There was one TikTok that I talked to you about. It was like he did nuclear bombs or something.
Nope, it was not Nukes Glow. We talked about it that week. It was not nuclear weapons.
Sorry.
But I do know what you're referring. No, it's okay. It was he drone struck military assets in Syria that I believe were Iranian. But I am not in no condition to really explain the complexity of that issue. But you did show me a TikTok of people, millennials, for Biden holding Biden accountable, which was nice to see.
They were Gen Z for Biden, but they changed their username for Gen Z for change after Biden won the election because they weren't.
Yeah, because we already got Biden. Now we want change.
Yeah.
I support the rebrand.
I do too. Either way, I've the story I'm trying to tell is that I don't really ever hear much about the Biden presidency outside of our conversations.
That is completely
or on
fair.
John Oliver.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not following it as closely as I did the crime spree of the Trump years.
I also haven't been watching, like, Stephen Colbert. I just haven't been watching a lot of stuff recently.
Well, last episode was about political burnout. And this episode is also about burnouts, but in a very different sense. That's where you insert the
pussy,
all right.
Money, weed.
This took a turn. All right, so this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to give a quick update on the attempts to legalize marijuana federally. And then we're going to play 2 games. I'm going to give Glow 10 states, and she's going to tell me whether their what their legal status is in regards to cannabis. And then she's going to play a game where she gives me the names of a strain of weed. And
I'm giving you it's actually a guess which is which. It's not true or false. Like, right or wrong. It's actually...
You can explain that to me when we get to it, because I am confused, but you will explain it, and it will be all right.
It'll all be good.
But first, let me take you to Capitol Hill, the seat of our legislature, so grand, and there, and Glow, what the fuck?
I can't eat chocolate chips.
No, you cannot eat on the podcast. That's the number one podcast in Quam. Like, there's no way to piss off people more than to eat on mic.
I'm just getting stuck on that. Okay, I'll chew them really quick and swallow and you could restart.
This episode of The Liberal Bubble is brought to you by the clusterfuckery surrounding the legal status of marijuana in the United States. On a federal level, marijuana is illegal and classified as a Schedule I drug, a substance with high abuse potential and no medicinal benefits, sharing such a prestigious classification with comparable substances like heroin or ecstasy. On a state level, the laws differ. 16 states plus the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana for medical and recreational use. 36 states have medical marijuana systems, but 13 states regard the substance as completely illegal. So, when it comes to the question of legalizing Kush, it's fair to say that the United States are a bit divided. But the people? Not so much. A Pew Research poll conducted in 2019 indicates that a majority of Americans support the legalization of marijuana. A whopping 59% support legalization for both medical and recreational use, and that support is bipartisan, which is remarkable in a country where things like believing in science are a partisan issue. But for now, marijuana continues to reside in a liminal space of legal ambiguity. The federal government maintains that marijuana has no medicinal benefits, but 36 states and millions of patients beg to differ. Hopefully, Joe Biden will consider this as he grapples with his fear of reefer madness. While Joe continues to ruminate on this issue, people of color remain in prison for low-level drug offenses related to distributing a substance which is now legal in a majority of states. Clearly, legal reform is required on a federal level, but Mr. Biden still worries that the ganja is a gateway drug. Until he figures his shit out, don't bring any weed into a national park or post office, even if cannabis is completely legal in your state. Federal property is subject to federal law, so remember, don't send letters if you're carrying the devil's lettuce. Legal clusterfuckery surrounding cannabis, a tool of institutional racism further perpetuated by antiquated disdain for hippie counterculture. I'm talking to you, Joe. Back to the show. But, okay, I'm going to take you back to Capitol Hill, where there was just a lovely intern who was eating chocolate chips, and she was told not to do that at this time. Though, I understand chocolate chips are delicious, but in the room just next door, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is trying to put together a law to federally legalize marijuana in the United States. As it stands now, it is there's some states where it's fully legal, some states where there's a medical system, some states where it's decriminalized but still not available for use. And it is still classified as a Schedule I drug by the DEA, which means that it is a drug with high abuse potential and no medicinal value. I believe things like, I should be sure about this, but like methamphetamine is regarded as more useful medically than marijuana, according to our DEA.
Do you think that marijuana is a Schedule I drug because of racism?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
This whole reefer madness was not based on science. That's for darn sure. And I think, as we'll discuss, Joe Biden is still a little bit perturbed by the reefer madness. Perturbed, bothered, disturbed,
He
upset.
doesn't like the lettuce?
The lettuce of the devil?
Yeah.
You can say his name. So here's the sitch. There's a divergence between the Senate Majority Leader and President Joe Biden. The Senate is drafting legislation that would federally make marijuana legal. It would require 10 Republican senators to support it. But marijuana legalization is something that is incredibly popular. By incredibly, I mean it passes 50% across parties. There are states where there are Republican governors that kind of flip-flop in terms of legalization of marijuana. And it's an issue that at this time is decided state by state. So a law passed by the Senate legalizing marijuana would supersede all those and say that no one can be prosecuted in a court of law for possession of marijuana, period.
And would everyone immediately get bailed out of jail if you were in jail for marijuana charges, or are you grandfathered into the...
It depends on the legislation. I would, if it were up to me, that is an essential, probably the most essential part of this legislation, which is expunging the records of people who are convicted on these bullshit drug charges.
See, and that's the thing. They don't want jails more empty. They want jails full because people in jail make America money.
Well, there are prisons which the government runs, and then there are private-run prisons which are run for profit.
But who's putting money in the pockets of the people who are in charge? Somebody.
The prisons.
Yeah.
So they've turned prisons into a business. So the government contracts out the building and administration or facilitation or whatever of a prison environment, and then that and I could be totally fucking wrong, but I don't think I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying it. But that's how things work. So that private prison is then like an independent entity that has to like obey regulations and such, but which profits itself. It's privatized. It's not a government-run prison, and that introduces like really faulty incentives to, as you said, pack prisons full of people that have no business being there. So end privatized prisons and expunge the records of anyone convicted of low-level drug offenses and anything related to marijuana. That, I think, would be an essential part of the legislation. I don't know if it's part of the legislation as it is being drafted now, but boy, am I going to call my congressman. But Joe Biden has the veto pen and may well wield it. For what reason, I don't know. But I know his stance, which is that he supports federal decriminalization of marijuana. And that means that you cannot be brought into a court of law and charged with a criminal offense for having weed on your person, but you can be fined. You can
like
face
a slap
a civil
on the
charge.
wrist.
Well, it's more like getting a ticket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you'll have to pay a fine, which...
Like littering.
Yeah. And that will have some effect, but it doesn't do anything to really bring the distribution of cannabis out of the black market and into a more regulated area. Just kind of... It's a half step to nowhere, but... That's the conflict. So the stance of the Biden administration is that he supports decriminalization, not legalization of cannabis. And there was a scandal a while back where a couple Biden staffers were fired because they tested positive for using the devil's lettuce. And part of America was like, we really still fucking doing that? All right. I mean, it is fully legal in the District of Columbia, where the White House is located. And, Glo, that will not be one of the states that I ask you about, despite it not being a state. And it should be. Boy, we have a lot of different causes packed in here. But that's the current tea.
Pluto's a planet!
Honestly,
Bitch.
I'm here for it. I don't see why not. I don't know why we have to discriminate based on size.
We shouldn't.
If Pluto wants to identify as a planet, which it did for the entirety of my childhood, and it's what I was taught,
so
Pluto
be
can be
it.
a planet. It literally makes no difference in the course of my life. So, I'm down. I'm here for it. That's my tea. That's the tea. It tastes like weed and
so
the
when
U.S.
is
Senate.
When is this Chuck Schumer thing gonna get voted on?
Who Chuck Schumer only knows. I mean, he has to do some whipping of the votes to see if there's bipartisan support. Glow did something strange.
No.
Okay, no, she didn't.
I was just sticking my tongue out.
Yeah.
And air humping, like.
Yeah, so nothing strange. Nothing strange. That's the latest update I've got for you. For some reason, we regard marijuana as dangerous as heroin. We know the reason is racism, first, foremost, and pretty much exclusively. Marijuana is used equally by white people and people of color, and yet people of color disproportionately make up people arrested and convicted of drug offenses related to marijuana. So, I don't know. Does something seem off to you, Glow?
I mean, if you have a blue collar on, you get the blue collar crimes. If you get the white collar, you get white collar crimes. If you're not wearing a collar, you just got to do normal crimes. You get the normal crime.
Well, my dog collar is like a plaid. It's like a tartan.
Oh.
Yeah.
A dog of the arts. A dog of Yale.
I'm the Doge of the sky. But
sky high?
No, I'm not that high. But I think now would be a good time to play our game. Yeah. Are you ready to play a game?
I'm ready to play. I love games.
I was going to say, where the fuck's the excitement? You were so excited to play games.
I love games. I love games. I love games. I love games.
Okay, cut out the part where I ask you to be excited so it all seems super real and not produced at all.
All right, bitch, get happy. I love games. Games are fun. Games
Camera's rolling. Be happy.
For everyone. I love games, and games are fun.
She's got a whole theme song.
Games are fun for everyone, especially me.
Yeah, she's a big fan of games. All right, so this is how this game's going to work. It's called, What is the Legal Status of Cannabis in the State That I'm Asking You About? Dun, 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 and I think the title could use a punch-up, but we're running with it. I'm going to give you a state. There will be 10 states that I give you. And you will tell me what the legal status of marijuana is in that state.
This is a
Just
toughie.
Guess. Your 3 options are A, fully legal.
Fully legal.
B, mixed. Which means that it is still illegal, but it may be decriminalized and or have a medicinal system in place for the access of marijuana for certain individuals.
Okay.
C, fully illegal. No kush to be had in these states.
All right, got it.
All right. And with that, feel free to play along, listener, or sit passively. You live your life.
Live your life.
That's a good song. I like that song. All right, we're going to start somewhere we're a little familiar with, a place by the name of Connecticut.
Hey, Connecticut, that's where I'm from.
Is the legal status of marijuana fully legal, mixed, or fully illegal?
I'm saying B, mixed.
That is correct. In the state of Connecticut, there is medicinal access to cannabis, and cannabis is decriminalized. So its possession is purely a civil offense in the state of Connecticut.
Just a little slap on the old wrist. I feel like I didn't know that because the times I've been pulled over by cops, I was very scared.
Well, driving with while intoxicated is a different thing.
No, having it in the car.
Oh, possession alone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's decriminalized. Up to like a certain amount, but I think the amount is reasonable. Moving on to Alabama.
Oh, gosh.
Is cannabis fully legal, mixed, or fully illegal?
See, because it's a University of Alabama, there's so many kids there, and I feel like they don't want those young children getting in trouble with the law and going to jail for possession. Because football makes a lot of money in Alabama. So I want to say mixed, but I also could understand how Alabama is fully illegal. It's so close to Florida. I'm going mixed.
All right, you're going mixed. Unfortunately,
Dang.
It is fully illegal in the state of Alabama. If you need it medicinally, go fuck yourself. And it's a complete crime to have it in your possession.
Dang. How do kids go to school, though, there?
Yeah.
They go to jail?
Some of them, depending on perhaps skin color.
Dang.
Texas.
Ooh. I remember, who was the sexy president running guy? Beto O'Rourke.
That's correct.
He
likes to stand on counters.
He felt a way about weed, and he was trying.
He did have a stance on the issue.
He was trying to do something good, so there must be bad things there, like illegalization. So I'm gonna say it's fully illegal in Texas too.
You'd be surprised to find it's actually mixed.
Oh.
But it is pretty darn close to fully illegal. In the state of Texas, it is not decriminalized. Possession is still a crime, like a criminal offense. There is a medicinal system, but you can only access CBD oil. No THC, which is the psychoactive component of cannabis. So no actual weed, only CBD oil.
Crazy.
That's the way it is in Texas, which is probably the most strange liminal space for a state to be. And let me see if there were any other states that were...
I may or may not have very openly smoked weed in Texas.
Well, I mean...
multiple times.
You probably didn't, for the sake of, So Texas is one of 6 states which only allow CBD, which, I mean, there are legitimate medicinal benefits to CBD. The others are...
Are one of them the Dakotas? Are both of them?
No. There are no Dakotas. Both Dakotas did not arrive to this group. But next, we're going to go back up north to Pennsylvania.
Philly. Oh no, they definitely smoke weed there because of the Flyers guy, the orange guy.
Oh, fucking Gritty? Yeah, Gritty is the product of someone on a lot of drugs.
Gritty, the Flyers mascot, was made from...
His eyes are... He either are bulging, so it's a thyroid problem, or he is strung the fuck out.
I'm saying mixed there. Has to be.
It is. That is correct.
Someone who smokes weed invented Gritty the mascot.
Honestly, I don't know if weed produces something like Gritty. That's nice.
Harder drugs.
I am a stan of Gritty, but it is something that came from a very dark place. So Pennsylvania's legal status with cannabis is mixed. There's a medicinal system, but possession is still fully criminal. It has not been decriminalized in the state of Pennsylvania.
Nuts.
Isn't it? How about we hop in our car and pop over to Nebraska?
Beep, beep. I don't even know where Nebraska is. Wait, let me think.
Okay, you do that while I remind you. Is it fully legal, mixed, or fully illegal?
I don't even remember where Nebraska is.
We have a lot of listeners from Nebraska. I think you've just pissed a lot of them off.
What's it next to? What's its neighbor?
That's a really rude question to ask me.
I'm so sorry.
Because I can't answer it at this time.
You don't know where Nebraska is?
I know where it is, relatively, but...
To who? Which state?
Well, the states generally. It's in the Midwest.
Can I Google a map?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I'm so sorry, Nebraska. I think you're by the North and South Dakotas, but also maybe near Texas? Oh, above right under South Dakota. I was right. Okay.
She knows her geography. I could fill out a map if it's in front of me and I'm fully lucid and sober.
I used to be able to. I'm going to say today. Nebraska is fully illegal. C.
That is correct. But if you need CBD oil, you can access it medicinally. And, interestingly, it is decriminalized, but fully illegal. I don't know how the fuck that works.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds confusing. I like where I live.
Yeah.
Shout out to Connecticut.
Shout out to Connecticut, indeed. But I'm working off no, I don't even know. I'm working off the website that has all the laws. Moving on. Mississippi.
Mississippi. Mississippi is probably fully mixed B.
Fully mixed?
Yep, mixed B.
It is fully mixed because it is medicinally available and decriminalized.
Woo!
Which is a rather mix of laws.
I'm into that. I'm happy for
all right.
them. Ooh.
I think this one's a softball coming your way. It's a little lady by the name of Colorado.
Ooh, actually, I think it's fully legal, A, in all ways, shapes, and forms.
Not for kids, but you are correct.
You have to be 18, 21, 25?
20. Oh, no. Only renting a car, you got to be 25.
That's
Everything else, 21. Yeah. I mean, unless you want to run for office, you got a couple more age barriers. But 21, I believe, is the age, because that's when you can get other intoxicants. So, do you like cold weather?
I'm a fan of it. Are you going to talk about a cold state?
Well, you've given me a very hot take that we don't deserve this state. Do you remember which state you feel we do not deserve? Because that's where we're going next.
We don't deserve them? Because they're too good for us? Alaska.
Nope. Is that why you think Alaska's... Is it because Alaska... It is Alaska, yes. But we don't deserve Alaska because it's too good?
No, because it's so far away and it's so big.
I thought that was the argument. I understand it, too.
It might as well be Canada. And Canada's huge.
Canada's a large country.
Canada has so many little islands.
Mm-hmm.
You could also be like, oh, I live in Canada. And they're like, I live in Canada. And you could probably live like 9 hours apart.
Absolutely. Same thing in the United States. But, you can also...
No, but in Connecticut, that's like 2 hours. Or Rhode Island, you're never like 45 minutes away from someone, probably.
Well, Canada's broken up into provinces. They're larger than states, because I think there's less than 10 of them. I don't know the exact
Well, I'm
amount.
only familiar with where we're from. I've been to Canada, kinda, because I'm from Canada.
Well, yeah, we've been... Again, I'm glad you mentioned it. I was trying to get in the fact that wherever you are in Canada, you could be in a better place where you could just go 5 inches up and to the left, and you'd find yourself in Canada.
Exactly.
It's a great place to be.
You should come sometime, listener.
If you're in Canada, you're basically already there.
Alaska. I
fully
think
legal.
It's fully illegal.
Mixed, fully illegal?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. It is actually fully legal.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Medicinal access and decriminalized. Fully legal.
I wasn't expecting that for some reason.
That was the goop. That was the gag of the bunch.
Not a lot of people there, so they're like, do whatever you want.
I'm not sure it's population density necessarily.
Yeah, but also
the culture is very much like we're in fucking Alaska. So
also, the sun.
We're gonna do our own thing.
The way the sun works over there, their life is an acid trip. Reality, they're like, it's 4 a.m. and the sun's out for 4 months of the year, and then some days it's just nighttime forever. They're like, yeah, do drugs. You're in the part of the world that's broken.
What you're saying makes perfect sense to me. New Hampshire.
I think New Hampshire is mixed.
That is correct.
I've been to New
Medicinal
Hampshire
access.
once. I didn't
you
like
have.
it.
Oh, what was it like? Live free? Did you live free or did you die?
I lived contained. I didn't get.
Oh, well, that's
either
not one
or.
of the options
I got
in
both.
New Hampshire. Oh, well. New York is where we're going to end our trip. The Big Apple or any other part of New York.
I know it's not fully legal, I think, so I'm going to say mixed.
That is incorrect. It is fully legal.
Fully legal?
It is in the state of New York.
I didn't know that. Why didn't I know that? Oh, but it's probably not recreational. Is it?
No, I think it is. Yeah. A mixed state would have like a medicinal system, but no recreational access.
Dang,
that
it's
would
recreational in Nueva York?
According to the data that I'm using.
The more you know. The more you know.
Which,
Excuse me, I burped.
We'll edit that out. We'll edit this whole weird pause out. Anyways, that's the rest of that game. Glow, you got 5 out of 10 correct. So, just like America, you're halfway towards knowing what the fuck's going on in terms of marijuana. We got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and we need to get this shit together. This drug is not as dangerous as heroin. And I should mention that Joe Biden's particular concern, why I mentioned Reefer Madness, is that he wants to see more research into whether or not marijuana is, in fact, a gateway drug. A gateway drug in particular. Which it is not. As someone that has used it, I've never wanted to progress beyond it. It's good enough.
Yeah. I also know a lot of people who never smoked weed, but also, just skipped weed.
Yeah, just went, straight to coke.
I feel like alcohol leads to more drugs.
Yeah, I think you're right.
My game...
I'm so excited.
...is called Strain or Paint. It's names of paint swatches from ppgpaints.com. I was looking on Bear and Home Depot and stuff, and I just ended up on this one because I think paint names are kind of funny and they potentially also sound like strains. So I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you one paint color and one strain, and you have to tell me which one's which.
So in your game requires me to remember 2 names at once.
Yep.
All right, let's fucking try.
Okay.
All right.
And I cross-referenced, but I don't think there's if I give you a name, for example, Treasure Isle. I looked to see if there's a Treasure Isle on the other one, and nothing came up. If there is, it's not to my knowledge.
I trust you and the thorough research that I'm sure you've done for this. No, okay. It's all for fun. Are you gonna keep track of points?
Yeah, I'll keep track.
I don't know why we keep in track, but it feels like why play a game if there's no quantifiable metric?
Okay.
But I'm also not a competitive person. I should save this for therapy. Let's play the game.
Okay, so the first two, Night Watch and Apple Fritter.
Apple Fritter is the weed, Night Watch is the paint.
Yes.
Hooray!
Fun.
I mean, I know that they name weed after food all the time. And Nightwalker sounds like something that is scary and also probably a dark blue. Uh-huh. Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, ready?
I'm so ready.
Tangy?
I've smoked Tangy.
Dang. Okay.
What was the other one? Well, if you want, but...
No, you get to know. You know. You smoke weed, so you know the name.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Tangy and High Dive.
High Dive might have... that's a pretty convincing weed name, but I've smoked a fair bit of Tangy, and I found it to be a pleasant sativa.
Okay. 2 for 2.
Thank you.
All right.
You are Beyonce. Thank you.
Next, we have... I want to give you one that you might not know. I don't want you to know it. Now I'm like, oh, what if he smoked it now? Okay.
Yeah, statistically, it's a tough game for you.
Animal mints.
Animal mint.
Mints with an S.
Plural. Okay. Animal mints.
Or gone giddy. Or and gone giddy.
No, or.
Oh, or.
They're mutually exclusive. So it was... Can I hear the two options again?
Animal mints and
Animal
gone giddy.
I'm going to say animal mints is a weed because I don't know why those two words would go together in a color. But then again, there is a brand called elk tongue. What was it? You got to give me them again.
Gone giddy and
Gone
animal
giddy.
mints.
I think Gone Giddy's probably too on the nose for cannabis, so I'm going to say that's the paint, and the other one is cannabis.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
Ooh. This is exciting.
Or
very much not good for my job prospects in the future. One of the two.
Okay, we got pine cone.
Okay.
And we got God's gift.
Ooh. Now, pine cone is the paint, and God's gift is the weed, and let me tell you why I think that.
Okay.
What color would God's gift be? How the fuck would you know that? But if the weed just fucking slaps, you know that that's God's gift. Like, if it's that fucking loud, it's God's gift.
Yeah.
Oh, hooray.
Correct.
I'm really thinking about these like a puzzle.
No, I'm glad that you are. I'm glad I'm not stumping you.
I mean, I like tree stumps.
I mean, I'm not trying.
Oh, I'm not accused. I would never accuse you of such.
Okay.
Oh,
You're 4 for 4.
All right.
Okay, it's firelight.
Firelight.
Or Italian ice.
Italian ice is the weed, and firelight is the paint.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of... Yeah, I'm not going to explain. Never mind. I've never smoked this stuff in my life. I've seen it. My friends have used it.
I don't know her. She doesn't go to my school. My friends met her at camp, and they talk about her a lot, but I never met her.
Marijuana? I don't know her. What's next? What you got for me?
All right. Banana pudding or lamb's bread.
I believe I know that banana pudding is the name of a weed strain. But lamb's bread, what the fuck color would that be? Oh, gosh. And I'm going to use all the clues that I have, which is that I heard Glow typing to see if
they're both.
pudding.
They're both.
Yeah, I was going to say, banana pudding might be a crossover. I should get double points for that.
Yeah, it's both.
Oh, what's wrong with me? Oh, no.
It's both. And
I've just been in a medicinal system for a long time. I've made the rounds.
But lamb's bread is a strain.
Is it?
Yeah,
Lamb's bread.
Lamb's bread.
That sounds biblical. I don't like it.
Hungry.
But God's gift was biblical, and I like that. So.
All right. I got
All
one
right.
for you.
Gimme More by Britney Spears.
Okay. Milk paint.
That seems okay.
Or garlic.
This one's a tough one. I'm gonna say that garlic is the color because it has a color. And milk paint is one of those fucking wild weed names like Bob Saget or acid.
First one wrong.
Oh, well.
But
Someday you gotta fall, Can't ride that high without...
keep your head up high, King. We don't want to see that crown fall.
All right, I'll do my best. What's next?
Okay.
I fucking really played myself. The one called milk paint, I was like, that's weed. I got cocky. And I got what I deserved.
Sometimes that happens.
It does. It
All
did.
right.
All right.
Blue Jewel or Sunshine?
All right. I mean, I'm well acquainted with Blue Dream. But I've also had... Oh, no. I've had Sunset Sherbet. So I don't know if that's a parentage strain. Sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset. What were the options?
Rise and shine. I wish I remembered what I said. Oh, Blue Jewel and Sunshine.
Blue Jewel is a paint and Sunshine is a strain.
Correct.
Phew. Back on track.
For you, I give you Sweet Tooth.
That's a strain. I smoke it all the time. Puts me right to sleep. I have it, actually.
And Magic Spell. It's a great nighttime strain.
Magic Spell is actually another... It would have been challenging were I not literally in possession of Sweet Tooth.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
It's my nighttime strain.
Magic Spell. Let's see if it's both. No, it's not. 8. All right, 2 more.
2 more. What? And I have one wrong? Is that correct?
Yeah, 7 right, 1 wrong.
All right, I can live with that, but I gotta stick the landing.
Okay. Hawaiian Punch and Grape Jelly.
Oh, that's tough. And I wonder if there may be a double here, because Hawaiian Punch very much sounds like a weed name, because I can't imagine anyone wanting the color of Hawaiian Punch on their fucking walls. It is such an aggressive red. The other one is Grape Jelly. And I'm revealing, actually, that I know more than I thought about marijuana parentage. I'm aware of things like Grape Stomper, and so this is where my knowledge can come back to bite me. Perhaps I overthink it a bit. We have Grape Jelly, and what was the other one?
Oh, wait.
Is it a double?
This one is a double.
No fucking way. Double points again.
Hawaiian Punch and Grape Jelly are both strains.
I am actually alarmed by how well I'm doing at this game. Dare I say ashamed.
All right, let's hit him with the last one.
Bring it home.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try and stump you.
I would love to be stumped, because I've smoked enough trees.
Okay.
I don't even know if that makes sense. I don't care.
This is the last 2. Lost Love and Cat Piss.
Cat Piss is a strain.
Ding, ding, ding. I know, that was so easy.
Piss.
They would never
You want to give me another one?
I don't know why I thought Cat Piss was going to be a stump. What
Cat Piss.
Company?
And
what
also,
company be like, yeah.
Like, I've looked into wild strain names, and Cat Piss is definitely on that list.
Okay. I got one for you.
I want to be the person that names weed strains. Because I assume you smoke it, and you're like, you know what? This one is just called acid, which is a strain. And I think that's funny, because it's like, wait, there's already another drug that's called acid. That's going to be confusing to someone. Glow's doing a little research to make sure that we don't get any doubles again.
The last one is bonus. Ivy League.
Okay, Ivy League.
And Lavender Jones.
Lavender Jones is definitely a weed name. It's got to be.
For all the points in the book, recovery. You made
I
it. 10 correct.
Disgusted, but also very proud of myself on today of all days, the 20th of April.
Woo! Yeah, yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Liberal Bubble. Maybe you...
Pop, pop, pop.
Maybe you hung out with your friend Mary Jane during it. Maybe you didn't.
She
We
might
do
have
not
stopped
endorse...
by.
Yeah, she might, but we don't endorse the use of any drugs.
Don't do it if you don't want to do it.
Or if you're under the age of 21, or if it's against the law. I consulted my non-existent lawyer before I started this podcast.
And I was briefed.
And all of it was hypothetical. It's all a dream. It's all comedy.
Everything's a dream. The ring is still spinning. If you ever saw a movie, I won't mention it in case it's a spoiler for you. But if you knew the movie, you would know. It's a movie where the ring is spinning.
I figured it out. Wink, wink. Yeah. I gotta watch that movie. It's been a long time.
I've been watching Gilmore Girls, and they keep spoiling The Godfather when they're like walking down the street. I'm like, you guys suck.
How many times do they spoil The Godfather?
A lot.
I have to know.
A lot. Like in
all right,
one
I know
episode,
this.
like 5 times.
I know we're wrapping up, but I do need to understand. And here's the embarrassing thing.
I've never seen The Godfather, and they keep telling me something.
I have seen Gilmore Girls, and this is where my embarrassing amount of knowledge around weed and my startling lack of recall around Gilmore Girls intersect. Why the fuck are they talking about The Godfather so much on Gilmore Girls? And I do hope that we include this.
It's Godfather night. It's Godfather night. Spoiler alert. Close your ears if you don't want to hear about The Godfather.
Yeah, hold on. Pause if you haven't heard The Godfather. Go watch it. It's streaming somewhere, I'm sure. And then watch The Godfather. We'll watch The Godfather together, 1 and 2, and the third one doesn't exist because it's really just. I need to move on.
But they keep saying, "Let's watch Sophie die."
I don't even fucking know who that is.
And neither do I. But when Sophie comes on screen, when I finally watch The Godfather, I'm be like, and she dies. Thanks a lot, Gilmore Girls. But
yeah, I don't think that'll be that. We're not going to watch part 3, and if I'm thinking correctly, that spoiler doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
But also, none of this matters.
It's
all hypothetical. All hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
But I hope you'll join us next week for another dip into the tub. It will be our season 1 finale. And we'll be taking a short hiatus and be back in the month of June.
See ya when we see ya.
Glow's like, no comment.
What the heck was I going to say? Also, today on 420, I have a song coming out today on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you type Lady Gleep
plug. Yeah, what's it called?
Spotify or Apple Music, my new song will come up. It's called Gloriana.
Gloriana. Can you spell your name? Because sometimes people get confused with
Glorianna. So if you want to hear my new song, go listen to it on one of those or the YouTube.
Here's the thing. 1, people think that there's only one N in Gloriana. They're incorrect. 2, I haven't heard the song and I know it's fucking incredible. So
you haven't? You definitely have.
I have heard the song and I know for a fact it's incredible due to my incredible memory recall. So, go stream that song.
I think you've heard an acoustic version of it. The one I put on YouTube, I sent it to you via text.
I'm sure I watched it because I genuinely do love your music.
Mm-hmm. It's up on the things now, so go check it out.
You've got such a unique voice.
Thank you.
That's frying your vocal cords.
Yep.
We're going to fix that.
One day I will learn to sing, but for now I don't know.
Is that a reference to the song, One Day I Was Really, 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 Really Sad? Because I just found out that existed. I'm learning. Here, before we wrap up this very tight, constructed episode, I will say that I encountered that song watching the video podcast Frenemies. And I will be joining Lady Gleep and Claire on Rigged Decks coming up to discuss that.
We'll be recording today. The episode will be out later this week on Friday. So
I'm extremely excited. I've never ventured into this corner of the internet, and we're gonna. Boy, do I have some questions. So join us next week on Tuesday for the Liberal Bubble and the Rigged Deck. Do we know when it comes out?
This Friday.
This Friday. All right, you heard it here.
This Friday.
This Friday, check it out. It's sure to be
the day after Earth Day.
Yeah, happy birthday, Earth.
Happy 2000 year birthday. Bye.
Yeah, 2021. Bye. She can buy alcohol.
Bye, girly.
Bye.
Everyone, bye.